A very good evening. You are just in time for GBS News at 9 here in Kenya's capital, Nairobi. My name is Susan Nganga, standing in for Beatrice Wangoi, and our sign language interpreter tonight is Paul Mathange. Together, we'll be taking you through the stories making headlines. And now, we begin the bulletin by a press statement issued by the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, where it is closely monitoring the ongoing situation during the commemoration of Sabasaba Day. As of 6:30 p.m., the Commission had documented 10 fatalities, 29 injuries, 2 abductions, and 37 arrests across 17 counties. Significant police barricades were reported on major roads and entry points, especially in Nairobi, causing severe distraction to public movement. Similar blockades observed in Kiambu, Meru, Kisii, Nyeri, Nakuru, and Embu counties. As a result, many citizens were unable to report to work, despite a directive from the Cabinet Secretary Geoffrey Ruku requiring government employees to report without fail. The Commission also noted continued disregard by police of a High Court order requiring all officers managing demonstration to be in uniform and identifiable. Instead, numerous hooded officers in unmarked vehicles were seen patrolling areas such as Nairobi, Kajiado, and Nakuru. Additionally, the Commission strongly condemned an attack by hired thugs on the Kenyan Human Rights Commission offices, where staff and civilians lawfully exercising their constitutional rights were brutalized. Journalists covering the incidents were also harassed and robbed. Though it is not constitutionally recognized, Kenyans remember this day as a special and historic day. It is a day just like today, 7th of July 1990, when a section of Kenyans stood firm to fight for multi-partyism in the country. This was after the then government-led President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi arrested the proponents of a movement that was charging for change, led by Charles Rubia, Raila Odinga, and Martin Shikuku. But a team led by the youth, who included the current Siaya County Governor James Orengo, Gitombu Imanyara, Paul Muite, among others, stood firm till President Daniel Toroitich bowed down to the pressure. But today, this day was different. After chaos erupted in the city, submerged destruction of property, let's take a look at what transpired during the Sabasaba Day celebrations.
Kenya's struggle for multi-party democracy took the most decisive turn. It's iconic and historical. It's a day rivaled only by the present day Mashujaa Day, previously Kenyatta Day, that celebrates the arrest and detention of the freedom fighters jointly called the Kapenguria Six. It is regrettable that the recognition and remembrance of Sabasaba has not been consistent in its short period history of 35 years. One moment it is important. The next moment it is not. On this 35th anniversary of Sabasaba, we decided to remember and to set the record straight on its significance, what it was and is, and what we ought to do with the foundation it laid for the country. Before that day, some patriotic Kenyans had demanded the repeal of Section 2A of the Constitution. A number of people, including Kenneth Matiba, Raila Odinga, Mohamed Ibrahim, Toby Manyara, John Hamino, and George Robia, among others, were arrested and detained. It is quite unfortunate that some of the people we were fighting then and who sanctioned those arrests are trying to hide behind Sabasaba to advance their political fortunes.
Still on the protest, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has called for dialogue and consultations as the preferred method to resolve national problems rather than engaging in protest. Speaking earlier this week at Mkunguni Square in Lamu Island during a women's economic empowerment event, Professor Kindiki emphasized that the country cannot be built through chaos, incitement, or violence. The Deputy President acknowledged citizens' constitutional right to air their view and picket, but stressed that all actions should be conducted peacefully and with respect for the law of the land. Wrapping up his weeks-long tour of the coast region, Kindiki also touched on President William Ruto's political future. He stated that the tangible development initiative being rolled out across the country by the administration are laying a firm groundwork for President William Ruto's second term. Professor Kindiki affirmed the government's commitment to ensure that every part of Kenya benefits from its non-discriminative development agenda, highlighting this as a key demand for most Kenyans for any government, thereby easing the path for the president's re-election.
Kuna watu wengine ambao wanapanga vurugu, sijui maandamano na vita. Na mimi nataka niseme nchi yetu ya Kenya na warai nchi yetu ya Kenya, wananchi zote na viongozi, lazima tutafute njia za kutatua shida zetu za kitaifa kwa njia ya mazungumzo na njia ya amani. Haitawezekana kujenga nchi yetu kupitia vita na vurugu na kuhatarisha amani na umoja na usalama wa kitaifa. I plead with you, fellow countrymen, we cannot build this country through chaos, through incitement, and through violence. We must learn to resolve our national problems through consultations, discussions, and through peaceful means. Na wale wananchi ambao wako na maoni tofauti, wako na uhuru wa kutoa maoni tofauti, bora wafanye hivyo kwa njia ya amani. Mwananchi ambaye anatofautiana na serikali, ako na uhuru ya kikatiba kutofautiana na serikali, bora afanye hivyo kwa njia ya amani. Mimi najua mnakubaliana na mimi wenzangu, hakuna kitu cha dhamana katika taifa kuliko usalama na amani. There is nothing more precious than peace and stability. Kwa hivyo wale wenzetu ambao wanapanga vita na vurugu, wajue ya kwamba hiyo sio njia ya kujenga taifa, hiyo ndio njia ya kubomoa taifa letu la Kenya.
The Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has today defended the Kenya Kwanza administration in Lamu County. The DP, who led the Lamu West Constituency Empowerment Forum, has stated that Ruto's administration had delivered more of its promises to Kenyans, and this will enable President William Ruto to scoop presidency for the second time. The Deputy President, who seemed to be answering the Kenya Kwanza opponents, led by the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, promised the locals that President William Ruto will be in office for 2 terms due to his good, clean, and best track record. Let's give it an ear and eye on what the DP said while in Lamu today.
Ukisikia tunasema 2 term. Tunasema 2 term ili barabara yetu ya kutoka Mtangawanda kwenda Kizingitini ijengwe na ikamilike. Tukisema 2 term, tungetaka soko la Kizingitini likamilike, soko la Mkowe likamilike, Hindi na kule Mpeketoni. Tukisema 2 term, ni wale wananchi wa Lamu 70,000 70,000 ambao wako na kadi ya matibabu. Hiyo idadi iongezeke, the entire population ya Lamu iwe na vitambulisho. Tukisema 2 term, ni kusema ya kwamba hii fish landing site tukamilishe na tutafutie wavuvi boti za kwenda baharini kwa zaidi ya siku 10.
Mkiwaona wanasiasa wanateta, jueni wanatetea matumbo yao na si matumbo yenu. Hawatetei maslahi yenu. Wale mafisadi viwembe, akiangalia maslahi yake hayajaangaliwa pale, anataka biashara haijaipata, ndio anaanza mdomo. Sisi tutashikana na Daktari William Samoei Ruto ama bado tunafikiria? Hebu kwa ishara ya vidole viwili nione.
Kuna wengine wakija hapa watakuja kuwagawanya kwa misingi ya ukabila, misingi ya mahali walitoka. Kweli si kweli? Muliwaona juzi wametoka Nairobi mpaka hapa Kilifi. Kila senta wanasimama kando ya barabara, maneno popo, maneno pepe, maneno mfululizo, matusi mfululizo, chuki mfululizo, ukabila pa, ukabila mfululizo. Wale ni washindwe wasishindwe? Washindwe wasishindwe? Nyinyi watu wa Lamu mko na haja na ukabila? Mko na haja na chuki baina ya viongozi? Na mkiona mimi na huyu Mudhama tumekosana, musifikiri tumekosana juu yenyu. Tunakosania mambo yetu kama viongozi.
Wale ambao wanataka kuchochea vijana wetu, tuseme shetani afanye nini? Tuseme shetani afanye nini? Kwa sababu sisi leo ni siku ya Sabasaba. Kuna wale ambao walifanya kazi nzito sana ili tuwe na amani, ili tuwe na party na tuwe na demokrasi. Lakini wengine wasijaribu kupitia mlango ya nyuma kuwafitini na kuleta fitina katika nchi ya Kenya. Wangapi wanasema Kenya tunataka amani? Nataka kuona wangapi wanasema Kenya tunataka amani. Kwa hivyo tunataka kuambia wale ambao wanatafuta viti wagoje hiyo 2027. Wakati huu rais wa Kenya ni nani? William Samoei, na unaongezea daktari pale juu. Rais wa Kenya ni Daktari William Samoei. Na wamama si tunapenda kupika chapati. Ukipika chapati unapika side moja ama mbili. Wangapi wanasema hata kwa Ruto tunasema ni round 2?
Do keep your comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. On that note, let's take a very fast break. We'll be right back with even more.
Anza wiki yako kwa njia sahihi kwa GBS Jumatatu.
Niko nawe hadi mida ya saa 4 asubuhi. Kwanza niseme asante kwa kuzidi kufuatilia na kutazama vipindi vyetu ambavyo huwa tunakuandalia hapa ndani ya GBS TV Jumatatu. People are now seeing the money that have been given to church as a bribe.
Jiunge nasi kila Jumatatu asubuhi kuanzia saa 1:30.
Nimesikia mwenzangu akifanya hesabu hapo ya vile ambavyo miungano zitakuwa. Ruto is going to fail whether with Raila or without Raila.
Kuna mahali anakosea akisema ati Raila na Ruto wataungana. Hakuna kuungana iko hapo, ndugu yangu, aje nikwambie ukweli.
Hadithi za kunoga.
Ukiangalia Wakenya, wananchi wa Kenya, pia hao maisha yao imedhulumiwa kwa kuongezwa kwa taxes, ziko very high taxes. So the statement by Rigathi Gachagua is just statement ya kumcheck that we can see you we can see between the lines.
Na mazungumzo yenye nguvu ya kukuletea utulivu kwa wiki yako.
Ati Raila ataingia UDA hapo.
Hiyo ndoto mimi yote nasema hawezi, sababu nasema hivi mheshimiwa, ikiwa
Sasa
Raila
itakuwa, mimi naona itakuwa
hadi saa 4 za asubuhi kwa majadiliano ya kusisimua.
Mheshimiwa Rais William Samoei Ruto ajue ya kwamba sasa yeye ni president wa Kenya. Sio mambo ya kufanyia wana Kenya mzaha. Kupoteza biashara kwa siku moja katika CPD, nafikiria ni jambo ambalo ni rahisi.
Usikose, ingia kwenye GPS TV. Anza Jumatatu yako kwa kusudi.
if the government does not spend, my brother, hakuna maendeleo inaonekana, hakuna barabara zinatengenezwa, hakuna dawa kwa hospitali, my friend, economies will not grow.
Tuonane panapo majaliwa yake Mwenyezi Mungu.
GPS Jumatatu, palipo mjadala wa leo na mwelekeo wa kesho.
My name is Ima Gatoru. I'm a model, a commercial model to be precise. And I've been asked this question, like, is model an art? And yes, modeling is an art. Because there are different products that you're supposed to promote or design, and you have to have that skill of you promoting that design or that product. So how you walk, how you talk, how you present yourself, like how you pose for a picture or pose for an item in your mepewa, or how you drive into a place in your mepewa. So you have to have that art or that skill for you to actually deliver what they want you to deliver. So yeah, modeling is an art.
Remove my skin and I won't cry. But you might. What am I? Are you still practicing art ukifanya your engineering? Umezimix ama umeenda tu fully on art? Sasa najua, hebu kwanza tutajia, because najua huwezi taja wote. Just some of the people wenye, some of the celebs wenye umeweza ku reveal your art to them.
J. Kroba, bibi yake. Hiyo siku walifurahia mbaya. Na mimi nilikuwa emotional mbaya sana.
Lilia.
Go and check that video, guys. Nililia mbaya.
I was seeing kuna place ulikuwa unasema like Biendo alikusaidia sana in building your career. Unaweza tuambie hiyo moment venye ilikuanga?
We.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the bulletin now. Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has today commemorated the Saba Saba Day differently, being one of the pioneers of this day that is remembered as a transformative day in Kenya's political history. Odinga stated that he was forced to address the press at the Serena Hotel in Nairobi after the police placed roadblocks around the city, barring him from accessing the historical ground of Kamukunji. He therefore raised his concerns and what, according to him, needs to be done to achieve the vision and the dream that Saba Saba pioneers had, and here are his proposals.
I propose an inclusive, intergenerational, national conclave to hear our people across all divides and come up with irreducible reforms and changes necessary to take the country forward. I propose that the country urgently returns to the agenda of comprehensive police reforms, focusing on enhancing accountability, transparency, and improving the police-to-people relationship. Your rogue police force that shoots people with impunity. And this is a force that we inherited from the colonialists. It has not been reformed to become a people's defender, a people's servant. I propose that the conclave comes up with better and sustainable ways for addressing transparency, accountability, and impunity, especially with regard to corruption, and ensuring that leaders are held accountable for their actions. I propose that the forum comes up with a comprehensive and sustainable strategy for addressing youth unemployment and expansion of opportunities for youth in the formal and informal sectors. Such a national conclave must have a clear terms of reference and be populated and helmed by the most serious and sober minds in our nation. The proceeds of the national dialogue be subjected to...
Moving forward from the counties, GEM Member of Parliament Elisha Odhiambo wants the Inspector General of Police to dispatch a special team to help unravel frequent murders targeting young girls in the area. According to the legislature, it was worrying that the number of innocent girls and members of the public falling victims to either a serial killer or members of a gang keeping on rising, with the police appearing helpless.
Addressing the media at Mutumbu in Gem Yala sub-county, Gem Member of Parliament Elisha Odhiambo lamented that the latest victims of unresolved murders were Veronica Odongo, a widow, and Elizabeth Acheng, a Form 2 student from East Gem location who were murdered 3 days ago.
3 days ago, we watched Veronica Odongo, a widower, and Elizabeth Acheng, a young girl in Form 2 in Uranga, butchered. It can't happen. We can't continue this way. And this lady, who is a businesswoman, a widow, a simple woman struggling, how do you kill a widow? Shame on you.
2 months ago, 2 other schoolgirls were murdered at Midhine and Muhunda areas. The legislature said that the Special Crimes Prevention Unit should be dispatched urgently to Gem area, where criminals seem to be having a field day.
2 months ago, we lost 2 students. A young girl butchered in Mdine. Another one butchered in Muhanda. I'm going to have an engagement to ensure that we have the serious crime unit dispatched to Sagam, Sinaga, and East Game location to flush out the criminals around there, because we have had so many deaths in the last 2 months. The last one happened 3 days ago.
He said that he had met the top security officials in Siaya County and agreed to rope in the special units from the Directorate of Criminal Investigation.
I have spoke to Madam Koki. She has given assurance, and the DCI County, DCI boss, and the DCI game, they have given me the assurance that they are doing everything possible to bring the culprits to book. We are also going to appeal for more policemen from the national government, because the police who have been transferred from game have not been replaced. And I've told categorically the OCPD game, they let them focus on reducing crime. Let them focus on reducing crime.
Odhiambo warned those behind insecurity in the constituency that their days are numbered. He said the perpetrators will not last longer. He lamented that the area police were concentrating too much on chasing illicit brews, forgetting other critical duties that touch on the lives of the citizens.
So I'm appealing to the police. Let us do our work. Do your work, let me as the MP do his work. Let us not focus on Waragi from Busia or Changa in the villages when people are suffering, when we cannot be vigilant to get people killing our own citizens in the village. So this nonsense, we must stop it.
Reporting from Gem Yala sub-county, I'm Paul Miner.
Do keep your comments coming in through SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. On that note, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with the international news.
So today's topic is Rising Stars, young people who create, influence, and inspire. So
on an honest note, creating is hard work, and there are people who I see their work and they are constantly pushing themselves. Like wanajipush, kujipush, like they are putting creativity up top over there.
I think no one also prepares you
for the fact that the better you become.
Your networking is also very good. You see, there are people who have passion for, you know, videography, creating videos, editing. There are people passionate about that. If you are someone who talks and you meet people and you love people, you'll definitely meet someone who's just waiting to shoot you.
But also in terms of what I put out, it goes back to what are your values? What are your values? What are your beliefs? So as much as this is trending, yes, that is trending. Does it align with your values? Does it align with your beliefs?
You can be a star without the star position.
Kwa hivyo,
Si lazima ukue hapo mbele ya watu. Si lazima wewe ndo ukue star, ndo ukue star. Hata ukiwa hapa chini, wewe bado ni star. And as she has said, discipline is a big thing.
AS and A levels is a qualification program that is advanced. That is after one has completed the high GCSE program, then they advise to continue for AS and A level. AS typically is a 1-year program, and A levels is done in the second year after completing the AS level. And this one equips the student with the knowledge that is recommended for the university and also by employers outside the countries or within the country.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the bulletin, and now on international news. As military coups sweep across parts of Africa, sparking debate and fascination online, Kenya's top government official is sounding the alarm. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi is urging citizens, especially the youth, not to be fooled by what he calls the dangerous glamorization of military rules spreading on social media. Speaking at a funeral in Western Kenya, Mudavadi delivered a passionate defense of democracy, warning that behind the polished AI-generated videos and online hype lies a harsh reality, repression, instability, and lost freedoms. Here's more from Uasin Gishu County. In Soi, Uasin Gishu County, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has issued a strong warning to Kenyans, urging them not to be swayed by social media glamorization of military-led governments in Africa. Speaking during the funeral service of the late Reverend Mildred Ayemba Wanyama, mother to renowned footballers McDonald Mariga and Victor Wanyama, Mudavadi cautioned that the growing online fascination with coup-led regimes is misleading and dangerous.
Kwa hivyo mimi najaribu kuambia kwamba zile serikali ambazo ni military governments, serikali za majeshi, serikali ambazo zimeingia kwa njia ya kupindua serikali, sio kupitia kwa ballot. Don't be cheated. A civilian government elected by the people is better than any military government.
He decried the use of artificial intelligence and manipulated media online to create false impressions of leaders altered to make military leaders appear polished, fluent in English, and visionary. But in democratic.
Kwa hivyo tusidanganyike kama Wakenya. Mtu unajua kitu kinaitwa artificial intelligence, AI. Na mimi nazungumza haya kwa sababu nataka wale wanapenda mtandao muelewe. Wanachukua yule mtu ambaye anabeba bunduki hapa, wanaweka artificial voice, the artificial intelligence, atiwe mtu anaongeza Kiingereza kisanifu nini. My friend, it's artificial intelligence. Yeye hazungumzi, they don't converse in English, they converse in French. But conveniently, wanamweka kwamba anatoa story in very fluent English. It is artificial intelligence. Kuhadaa vijana wetu wafikiri kwamba hapo ndio kuna uongozi. Hakuna uongozi pale. Hiyo ni military government.
The Prime Cabinet Secretary emphasized that civilian governments elected by the people and governed by the rule of law are the cornerstone of freedom, peace, and progress.
A civilian government elected by the people is better than any military government. Hata ikiwa ina dosari, a civilian government is better any day. Serikali ya raia ni afadhali kushinda serikali yoyote ambayo inaongozwa na mtu ambaye ameweka bunduki hapa.
He urged Kenyans to remain vigilant, to safeguard democracy, and to resist the temptations of shortcuts to power. He called on the public to exercise their freedoms responsibly, highlighting Kenya's unique position as one of Africa's most democratic nations.
Hakuna taifa lingine katika bara la Afrika ambalo lina demokrasia kama hii yetu. Wale wajanja si walijaribu wanasiasa wengine hapa, wakajaribu kwenda kwa nchi jirani. Nini ilifanyika? Hawakutoka kwa airport, wakarudishwa. Lakini mtu anazungumza, anaenda nyumbani. There is a lot of democracy here. Tusifikiri ni mchezo. Let us not throw it out of the window. Let us respect and consolidate the democracy here. But let us also respect each other. Tuheshimiane. Kwani kuna nini?
Moving forward to South Sudan, a growing humanitarian emergency is unfolding in the Upper Nile region, where tens of thousands are on the brink of famine. For the first time in months, the World Food Programme is airdropping food to reach those cut off by intense fighting. With over 1 million people facing acute hunger, the crisis is raising new fears that South Sudan could be heading back into civil war. Here's more on the scene.
In South Sudan's Wharton Upper Nile region, over 40,000 people are facing desperate hunger. For the first time in 4 months, the World Food Programme has resumed emergency airdrops to reach those cut off by violence.
Livelihoods have been destroyed, people have been displaced, and now people are at a real risk of famine because of the conflict. These airdrops that we've started over the last couple of days are crucial and critical to push back that risk and bring people back from the brink of famine.
Ongoing fighting between government forces and militias has displaced thousands and blocked critical aid routes. Over 1 million people in the region face acute hunger, with 32,000 already at catastrophic levels.
The majority are women and children and people with special needs, including the elderly. They have come here with nothing, without food, without shelter. The only things that they have, some of them are a little bundle of clothes that are tied in some clothes that they have. They have nothing else in their possession.
As the conflict intensifies, the UN wants South Sudan is edging closer to civil war. The World Food Programme is calling for urgent international support to deliver aid and prevent a full-scale humanitarian disaster. Elvin Muyodi, GBS News.
Moving forward, Cyprus has just officially opened its embassy in Nairobi, a move that's been warmly welcomed by the Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and Cyprus Foreign Minister Konstantinos Kombos. The two leaders emphasized their shared commitment to strengthening bilateral cooperation in key areas such as agriculture, education, maritime trade, tourism, and labor mobility, with Cyprus expressing support for Kenya's regional role and future engagement under the European Union framework. The inauguration signals a renewed push to unlock economic opportunities to deepen people-to-people ties between the two nations. The embassy is located on the 11th floor of the Piano Building in Westlands.
And one piece for our minister, please.
Cyprus has officially inaugurated its embassy in Nairobi, a major step that coincides with the signing of a memorandum of understanding on political and diplomatic consultation. At the invitation of visiting Cyprus Minister for Foreign Affairs, Konstantinos Kombos, Kenya's Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi attended the inauguration. Mudavadi described the occasion as a reaffirmation of both nations' commitment to strengthening bilateral ties.
We want to strengthen our bilateral relationships. It has been with us for many years, very cordial, but we have reached the season where we want to grow real tangibles from both sides so that the citizens and enterprises from both countries can fully benefit from this partnership. So
the ministers acknowledged the untapped potential in Kenya-Cyprus relations and committed to pursuing tangible benefits for both citizens of both countries.
There are opportunities, and there is a window of opportunity that we need to take advantage of. And this is one of those situations where the faster we move, the more visible will be the tangible outcomes for our peoples. This is what we are here for our peoples, and we need to make sure that we coordinate effectively in order to ensure that all those potential benefits actually materialize.
In their discussions, agriculture took center stage, with both sides pledging to strengthen collaboration and boost Kenya's exports to Europe. The two nations also agreed to deepen cooperation in maritime affairs and shipping.
Our business people look for, and there's a lot of scope. You are a big shipping country. There's a lot of scope in the blue economy that we can learn from you and partner.
Tourism featured prominently in their talks, with Kenya leveraging its remarkable rebound in 2024, welcoming over 2.4 million international arrivals and earning a projected 452.2 billion shillings, a 19.79% increase.
Tourism, there are lessons to be learned in relation to this critical economic sector and industry for both of our countries.
They also discussed the potential for a comprehensive framework on labor mobility aimed at streamlining access to job opportunities for both youth in both countries.
Those discussions, it's obvious that there is also a possibility or a room for negotiating some kind of arrangement in relation to mobility. And this is something that we could be working towards.
With Kenya being a key financial hub in sub-Saharan Africa and a member of the EAC, COMESA, and the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, Cyprus expressed strong interest in offering expertise and building partnerships across the continent. Cyprus has also assured Kenya of its support in the implementation of the Economic Partnership Agreement with the European Union, especially when Cyprus assumes the presidency of the EU Council in 2026. The new Cyprus embassy in Kenya is now open on the 11th floor of the Piano building in Westlands. Do keep your comments coming in through SMS line 21144 and GPS TV Africa on all our social media handles. On that note, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with even more international news.
Hello, my name is Nyabil. I'm from Mahanim. Call this school a good school because the second my mom saw it, she saw it was Christian-based. And when I see Christian-based, that's what the character my mother wants for me. And I like the sports that we play for PE. Like sometimes we play table tennis, we can play football, we match, and on Fridays we have games. And we verse the teachers in football. And this is why I think the school is the best school your children can go to.
Today we are talking about toxic masculinity.
People who have a right heart, they have main characters. Number one, they don't listen to other people. True wisdom is to know your shortcomings. Why is it that true wisdom is to know your shortcomings? The moment you realize that you have weaknesses, then your ears become open to listen to other people. One, if you want to grow, you have to associate yourself with people who are better than you.
True.
You know, everybody who is listening to you, they may pretend that they're listening to you. There are 5 ways of listening. Number one, there is ignore, pretend, selective, attentive, and then empathic listening. Have you ever met with a person who, before even you start giving a story, they say, iyo najua, and then they start speaking about it. It's as if you want, who was speaking? Who brought up the story? You know when you speak a lot, you speak things that you are not supposed to speak.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the bulletin. And now, U.S. President Donald Trump on Sunday stated that a Gaza ceasefire could be reached with the Palestinian group Hamas this week. Trump told reporters in Morristown, New Jersey, and his remarks came ahead of his meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House today. Netanyahu left Tel Aviv on Sunday for Washington, D.C. to meet with Trump for talks on regional issues, including a Gaza ceasefire and prison swap agreement. In his third visit to the United States within 6 months, he will also be meeting senior officials of the United States administration and senior members of Congress from both parties.
I think we're close to a deal on Gaza. We could have it this week. There's a good chance we have a deal with Hamas during the coming week, pertaining to quite a few of the hostages. Yeah. You know, we've gotten a lot of the hostages out, but pertaining to the remaining hostages,
In Paris, members of the Ivorian diaspora are raising their voices just months ahead of the Côte d'Ivoire's presidential election. They are calling for free and inclusive elections and protesting the exclusion of key opposition candidates. The demonstration, led by the youth wing of the Democratic Party, comes amid growing concerns over political repression back home. Our reporter takes you to the heart of the rally.
Just 4 months until Côte d'Ivoire's presidential election, members of the Ivorian diaspora are mobilizing in Paris. Led by the youth of the Democratic Party JPDCI, this calls for and inclusive elections.
It is important for me to be here to support my party and to show the whole of Côte d'Ivoire that even if we are abroad, we participate in the expression of democracy in the country where we live.
Central to their demands is the reinstatement of opposition candidate Tidjane Thiam, who has been excluded from the official electoral list.
Precisely. Our concern is that the president refuses to include our leader on the electoral list, and that won't please us. Not at all.
For the demonstrators, this exclusion signals a troubling climate of repression and shrinking political space in Côte d'Ivoire. Beyond support for their candidate, they are demanding electoral justice as the foundation for lasting peace.
On n'a plus le droit de manifester correctement.
We no longer have the right to demonstrate properly. The president of the student of JPDCI was arrested 2 days ago. The president of the rural JPDCI was also arrested. So we no longer have the right to speak out in Côte d'Ivoire.
La démocratie est aussi des élections.
Young people just want democracy and peaceful elections. Côte d'Ivoire has never had peaceful elections. Today in Côte d'Ivoire, when we talk about October, everyone is afraid. The population is frightened. We were born and until now. You only have to hear October 2025. We have never known peaceful elections. We want it to start now.
For these members of the Ivorian diaspora, their message is clear. Without a free and transparent vote, there can be no true democracy. Elvin Muyodi, GBS News.
Shifting the focus to the United States, President Donald Trump has called Elon Musk's plans to form a new political party ridiculous, launching new bobs at the tech billionaire and saying the Musk ally he once named to lead NASA will have presented a conflict of interest given Musk's business interest in space. A day after Musk escalated his feud with Trump and announced the formation of a new political party, the Republican president was asked about it before boarding Air Force One in Morristown, New Jersey, as he returned to Washington upon visiting his nearby golf club. And that brings us to the end of our bulletin tonight. As always, here at GBS News at 9, we make your news our business. My name is Susan Nganga and our sign language interpreter tonight was Paul Mathange. Have a good night.
Everywhere, GBS.